Oh, how we miss Andrea.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Listen, it's been a great week. Great week. And I happened to be on the road today, so I pulled over on the side. But today is definitely not about me. We have a special guest today to share. And just want to remind everybody, for all the guests on, this is something that me and Coach Myra Miles decided to do way back in the quarantine days when we first started, just a way to where we could have 10 to 15 minutes together as a power source, just as a moment of time where we kind of plug into each other and get our day started on the right track. And we've been kind of basing the day on a word, like surrounding it around a word, and having special guests on. This morning is one of those times. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Coach Myra Miles to do the introduction.
Hey, thanks for being here, everybody. I about had a wreck looking at the screen, Coach. Kelly Brown is on here today. I'm not sure we can get her to get on the screen, but anyway, it's great to have everybody. Look, our guest today, I could talk a long time about Coach Rosamond, Coach Kim Rosamond. She is we've had a softball coach, we've had a football coach, we've had a guy that coached baseball and softball. We had last week we had Coach Johns, who has been softball, worked with the national team, and today we're bringing you a true basketball lady. Kim Rosamond is currently the head basketball coach at Tennessee Tech. I met Kim many years ago when she was at Vanderbilt as an assistant, and she is number one, she's a great recruiter, obviously X and O person, but the thing about Kim that has always stood out to me is she is a role model, perfect. When you talk about somebody with relationship skills and knowing how to deal with people and such a great influencer, that's her. And also with her today on the call is Emily Hatfield, who is her director of basketball operations. So welcome, Emily, too. But Coach Rosamond, go ahead and be and unmute yourself, and just bring us something positive today. I see you're already up in the office working.
Well, Coach, I don't know if you didn't just oversell me right there, but I'll tell you what, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you guys today. Obviously, Coach Miles and I go way back and just think the world of her, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know Brent and over the last couple weeks, and that's been really fun. But I'll tell you, the first thing that strikes me is we're doing this also with our team weekly. We're bringing in a speaker each week just to continue to help our players grow in every way. And kudos to Coach Myra and Coach Brent for pouring into their team and their family and their people. And so it's an honor for Emily and I to be with you today. I don't do much without Emily. She is the brains behind our operation and makes us go. So I appreciate her being on with me today. And I'm going to be brief, but I will get to it really quick. Just before I kind of go into what I want to hit on today, just to tell you just a little bit about myself. Myra shared with you that I just completed my 4th year as head coach at Tennessee Tech, but to understand my journey a little bit, I'm a Mississippi girl, if you can't tell, with a Southern accent. So grew up in Mississippi, played basketball at Ole Miss. So if there's any Ole Miss people on here, hotty toddy. I spent 5 years as a player there, played for Naismith Hall of Fame coach and Van Chancellor. Very fortunate to play for somebody like him. And then got it finished, got my marketing degree, never planned on coaching, and God stepped in and had different plans for me, and got on immediately at my alma mater and coached 5 years at Ole Miss. And then we had a coaching change. Van had left and gone to the WNBA, went on to win 4 world championships there. And I'd gotten to play for an unbelievable man, Ron Aldi, my senior year. That's who I started coaching with. And then after year 5, we got fired. And so it was time for God close that door and opened another door for me. And I went to Middle Tennessee for 2 years and had turned 30. And I kind of divide my coaching career up in the first 10 years and now the last 10 years. I've been doing, I know I know it's probably hard to believe, but I've been doing it for 20 years. I know maybe I don't look that old, although I feel it. If you could see these gray hairs right now. But those first 10 years, guys, you know, I was young, and my motivation probably those first 10 years was a whole lot different than it's been the last 10 years. And I was raised the right way. I've always cared about people. But, you know, I was young, and it was really about me. It was about, I wanted to win. I wanted to make money. I wanted to get rings. And then probably next came the people and the players. Well, those 2 years that I was out, there was really a strong shift in me. You know, there's an old saying that maturity, the definition of maturity is when you start living your life for somebody other than yourself. And when I got out of coaching those 2 years, boy, did I ever miss it. I enjoyed life, but I had kind of lost my purpose a little bit. And I realized what my purpose was, and was very fortunate that God opened a door for me after having been out 2 years to go be the recruiting coordinator at Vanderbilt University. And I spent 9 years there. I was part of several championship teams there and a couple Sweet 16 teams there. And then that allowed me to have an opportunity to become the head coach 4 years ago at Tennessee Tech. And so I tell you all that to say, yes, you know, coach is attached to my name, but I'll give you kind of the best version of what I think my purpose is. There's an old definition of coach, and this sounds, Myra Miles may have shared this with you because this sounds something like she would say, but the old definition of coach is that it's a vessel that is used to transport really important people to their destination. And to me, that's my purpose. It's not to teach a young woman how to get in a defensive stance. It's not to teach her how to run a play. Now, obviously, in order to continue to fulfill my purpose, we got to be able to do those things, or I won't be coaching very long. But I think that it's more than just X's and O's. And so for me, the last 10 years of my professional life and my personal life has been about serving others and helping others get to be the best version of themselves. And in our program, we call that being elite. You guys hear elite, that's thrown around so much, right? You know, I don't know if, no, we got some Tennessee folks on here, but I will throw out Nick Saban. I mean, when you think about Nick Saban, you think about him, he's an elite coach, you know, championship after championship, year after year. But, you know, I think he'd probably be the first to tell you, elite is really being the best version of yourself, whether you got a ring or whether you don't, being the best version of yourself. And then when you're the best version of yourself, you can help others be the best version of themselves. And so that's what I want to talk to you about this morning. My purpose first is to serve my players, to serve our staff, to serve our managers, to serve everybody that's connected in our program, and to teach and to inspire. That is what I believe I was put on this earth to do. And so I just work every day to try to continue to grow and daily and just be 1% better today than I was yesterday. And so I don't know that I have a whole lot of secrets that probably you haven't heard, but what I do want to share with you guys today, instead of just one word, because I'm a little bit more wordy than that. That would be too easy for me to just do one word. So what I'm going to do is just share really quickly 4 nuggets that through my 20 years of coaching and really life experiences, because we all have experiences, but sometimes we don't always learn. And when we can start taking those experiences and actually learning from those experiences, that's when we grow. And I think it was it Rick that came on with the quote at the beginning about growth? I love that because, man, that's what life is all about. So these are just 4 nuggets that I've learned in life that have really helped me. And then at the end of it, I'm going to share with you our golden rule in our program. So the first nugget is number 1, relationships before leadership and leadership before championships. I'm going to say that again. Relationships before leadership and leadership before championships. At the bottom of that, it says if serving is beneath you, then leading is beyond you. And I don't know that I've heard of a truer quote than that right there. You know, no matter what arena you are in life, whether you're a coach, whether you're a teacher, an educator, a pastor, in sales, a parent, you know, how you connect with others, how you serve and help others is really what life boils down to. The great Pat Summitt said, the longtime Tennessee coach that was, in my opinion, the best women's basketball coach of all times, she said, you win in life with people. And that is the truth, you know, and that's where everything in life starts. And of course, you know, I want to win championships. I want my players to be able to have a ring before they leave Tennessee Tech. But those championships don't come before relationships. And if you want to get somewhere in life, it is about people. And it is about how you treat people, how you value people. And I've really learned that what comes from the heart touches the heart. So what I mean by that is if you have a heart for people and whatever you're doing, whether it's sales, whether it's coaching, but if at the core of that is your people and trying to truly help them be the best that they can be, then success is going to be a byproduct of that, no matter what you are doing. And if your heart is in the right place, you're going to be able to touch others. You know, as coaches, we talk all the time about leadership. You got to have leaders on your team. And to be a leader, first you got to lead yourself. But the next most important thing is you got to be able to invest and care about people. And if you can't do those two things, then you can't lead. The second nugget that I'll share with you this morning is, it's just a thought. Our minds are like gardens. Every day we must weed and feed. Weed out the negative and feed the positive. You know, I really like to think also of our minds as being like weapons, because they really are. You know, our minds can be used for good, but they can also be used for bad. And it really depends on, you know, what we're feeding our minds every day. And you guys can see at the bottom of that, it says mindset equals reset. If you've been watching ESPN for the last couple of weeks, we were all probably, those sports lovers out there, we were all probably really enjoyed The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. And what stood out to me about him was what made him so special. Obviously, he was a great talent. But there's been guys come through the NBA that were just as talented as he was. But what made him so special was his mindset. But every day with a mindset, you have to hit reset. And Coach Miles was talking about that when we first got on this morning, about, you know, what some of the opportunity that has come out of these tough times that our country is going through right now is the opportunity just to really reset. And every morning to have a little bit more time than maybe we normally do, to whether it be how you start your day, your daily habits that you've created. I've really tried, those are the two things I've really tried to focus on during this time. One is the relationship piece, continuing to really invest more time in relationships, but also the other is my habits every day. You know, before all this, we had just finished our season, right, literally a week, and this happened a week later. And you kind of get into a default mode during the season. You wake up, you're sprinting into the office, it's film, you're preparing for practice. After practice, you're watching more film. And just like that says down below at the bottom, discipline over default. You really have to be careful as a human being not to just start living out of default, but rather to live a life of discipline. And that starts with how we begin our day every day, hitting that reset button, what we're feeding our minds. We live in a world where there's so many distractions. There's a lot of critics, and there's a lot of negativity, honestly, if you're watching the news or you're looking at social media. So what are you going to choose to feed your mind every day? And I think that is so important, because we are what we repeatedly do. And so you really have to watch your habits and what you're feeding your mind every day, and make sure that every morning, that alarm clock doesn't wake us up every morning. When we get woken up, there's a higher being that has woken us up that morning. And just making sure that we wake up with an attitude of gratitude and hit that reset button, and make sure that we are starting our day out with positive thoughts. The third thing, and this is something we talk a lot about with our players. The most important thing about you is not the things you achieve, but rather the person you become. And in our program, we are constantly telling our players that the person is greater than the player. So really, you are not defined, your identity is not in what you do. It is in who you are. I've been doing this sports thing a long, long time. I've been around a lot of really successful coaches. And there's some successful coaches that, at the end of the day, all they have to show for are the rings and the trophies. And to me, that is a really sad way to go about it. I think for the most part, the great ones live by that quote, but you do have a few that gets caught up in the accomplishments. We start out our year usually by doing a little exercise with our kids at some point earlier in the year. And I'll ask them, I'll say, hey guys, can you tell me who led the nation in scoring 2 years ago? Because what player on our team wouldn't love to be the nation's leading scorer? Or who won the NCAA title 4 years ago? And I'm telling you, there might be one kid in that room that can answer that question, because they just don't remember. Then I follow it up with, okay, tell me who was the teacher in your life that made the greatest impact? Immediately, they can tell you that. Who is the person in your life that was there for you in your darkest time? Immediately, they can tell you that. So it's just a great lesson to them that life truly, accomplishments are great. Obviously, money does make things easier. It doesn't make you happy, but it does make things easier. But at the end of the day, the person you become is so much more important than any of those things that you can put on a shelf. And that quote down there is one of my favorite quotes by the great John Wooden. A coach's primary function should not be to make better players, but to make better people. And I think if we can all focus on that wherever we are in our lives, is just continuing each and every day when we wake up and we hit that reset button, to focus on trying to be a better person today than we were yesterday. The impact and the influence that we're going to have on others is just tremendous. Number 4, and the last little nugget I wanted to share with you guys. Success is never a straight line. I don't know if you guys can see over in the corner, that little squiggly mark there. I think as a young athlete, as a young coach, I thought life was just going to be like this. I was going to start and just bam, go up. Well, little did I know that I would get my dream job, and in 5 years I would lose it. And at the time, think it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And it ended up being the greatest blessing in my life, because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone. Would have never left Mississippi. It pushed me to Tennessee, and just I think about all the great things that have come out of that. And in between that, I've had success. I've had failures. And in our program, failing is growth. We talk all the time to our players that mistakes are just feedback. Failing is growth. When you're a failure is when you quit, when you give up. And so, I know all of us hit roadblocks, all of us hit adversity, but just remember that success is never a straight line, and you're going to come into contact with all of that. But if you keep fighting through, you're going to get to the other side of it. And I'll just read this little last quotation here. The road to success is not straight. There is a curve called failing, a loop called confusion, speed bumps called friends, red lights called enemies, and caution lights called family. You will have flat tires called adversity, but if you have a spare called determination, an engine called perseverance, and a driver called willpower, you will make it to a place called success. And I love that little paragraph there. It's one of my favorite things. You know, and success for all of us is defined by a lot of different things, and only you can define what success is to you. But what I'll tell you there is, no matter where you're at in life, no matter if you think you've reached it or you're still fighting every day to get there, it's a journey, and just continue striving to be the elite version of yourself, which is the best version of yourself each and every day. And then the very last thing that I'll share with you today, and then I'll wrap up. We're not a rules-based program. I'm a standards coach. I think if you lay out a bunch of rules and tell people what they can and can't do, that's the easiest way to get people to buy out of what you want them to do. Rather, we lay out standards, and then we call people up to meet those standards each and every day. But this is our one rule, and it is also my one rule in life. This is kind of our golden rule, and it's always leave it better than you found it. Whether it's a person, whether it's a room, whether it's a shopping cart in the middle of a parking lot, leave it better than you found it. And I think if we can all live that way, what a better world we would all leave. We would all, number one, be in, but we would also leave it such a better place than what we found it. So I'm going to wrap that up this morning, guys, and I hope that something that I've said maybe has resonated with you all. It truly is an honor to be able to talk to you guys from all different parts of the country, and I pray for you all. I pray for your families, and I pray that you know, as we start to move out of this, there's going to be better times and better things ahead, and I think we all got to believe that. And you know, I know it's been a tough time for many. But I do believe that better times are coming and better times ahead. So thank you for your time this morning, and thank you for letting Emily and I come in and speak with you today.
Kim, that was just incredible. Thank you so much. Wow, that was a great way to end our week and talk about some powerful nuggets. I really appreciate your time. I know that you're so busy right now. And I know everybody on this call, by watching all the comments on the thread today, it really resonated with so many people. I know it did with me. Coach Palmer, I know you'd like to say something before we end it up today.
Yeah, wow, Coach. Just thankful for people like you in the world. You know, everything you gave us, it was with passion, and we're blessed for that today. So thank you for your time. And being here with us. Wow, just great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Yes.
Also, Emily, thank you for driving it for her over there. Appreciate it.
No doubt.
Everybody have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day. And as always, we love you and appreciate you so much. Look forward to seeing you. We'll probably go ahead and come on Monday. What do you think, Coach?
I think so. I think it'd be a good thing to do. We'll start the holiday with a good word for the day. And remember, as always, just like Coach said today, let's find somebody today, make them have a better day because we showed up in their life. Have a great Friday and a great weekend. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Determined.
Thank you, guys. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you.